most of the presentation started off, and I think most of it focused on how these towers looked. And gosh, they're not really all that bad. They're kind of pretty, aren't they? And to me, that's really not the case. You did make the mind-numbing, jaw-dropping statement that there was absolutely no danger from cell towers, and that is, thank you, Warren, that is just not true. A lot of these studies are corporate communication studies, and if you want to, oh, I lost my train of thought. What I wanted to say was we really need to err on the side of safety. I would ask that before this goes further, any further, that we have an opposing information come in and be presented to the council. I would also ask that on the day that the news does break that cell tower radiation is very harmful, how quickly will you be able to get it out of here? For the past decade, people have been wondering why so many non-smokers are ending up with lung cancer. And one of the main suspicions is cell phone tower and electronic emissions. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Thanks.
My name is Candace Camden, and I'm here for State Representative Carly Drenner. One of my questions, gentlemen, is how many antennas will be present on the tower?
Initially, one array of antennas, which would be.
So antennas are separate from carriers?
Yeah, so that each carrier would have a 10-foot section.
So with 3 carriers, there's a possibility of 3 antennas?
Yeah, 3. Yeah, so there'd be panel antennas, maybe a total of 9 or 12.
So there's 9 potential antennas with this tower, is what you're saying?
No. It's as the spaces are leased, they will put their equipment in there, and each, they want to cover 360 degrees. So they'll have antennas pointing in various.
Sure. So I guess my question is, how many antennas are the potential?
The exact number I don't know, but
3, 5, between under 10?
Oh no. It's per carrier.
Well, sure, per carrier. So if we had AT&T, we had Metro PCS, how many antennas is there potential for?
I'm not a technician, so I don't know. It would be numerous antennas.
Okay, numerous antennas. Thank you. And my the other question for clarification purposes, I was trying to follow the conversation and I just couldn't. Sorry, it's the end of the day. You said GMA was the consultant, but who negotiated was it GMA that negotiated the contract, or
there is no contract?
I mean, or the presentation, the numbers? Sorry, I was trying to follow that.
Can I yeah, just let me explain the process. The city was initially contacted by a municipal corporation with the idea of establishing a cell phone tower here. There was an initial monetary offer of $100,000 one-time fee. There was also an option to break that down to reduce the one-time fee by increments and then to spread the rest of the payments out per month. As staff, we contacted the mayor and the vice mayor and informed them that we had been contacted by municipal communications and sought direction of whether or not we should discuss this issue with the entire council. It was given the direction to discuss this issue with the entire council, at which time we put together a little summary of the offer, brought that to the council in an executive session, and asked whether or not the council wanted to move forward. We also indicated that if the council did want to move forward, we had at our disposal the Georgia Municipal Association that has a telecommunications capability that we pay into, and felt that if we were going to pursue this from a financial standpoint, it would behoove the city to get expert advice and consultation, which time we did. With the assistance of the consultant with GMA, we actually were able to renegotiate possible financial numbers that certainly are more attractive than the original offer. Brought that back to the city council and received direction to move forward with this process. And that brings us to today, where we are having a public hearing. So I hope that clarifies that.
So it's the telecommunication person of GMA is what you're saying?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Okay, seeing no more comments, closing this public hearing. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to agenda item 1. Discuss and amend ordinances, sign ordinance 15-5. Planning and development.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Staff was requested to research and to make recommendations regarding possible changes to our current sign ordinances in order to better clarify the definition of monument-based signs. We've asked our planning and development manager to conduct this research, and as a result of that, you see here before you some proposed amendments to chapter 15.5 of our city ordinances. And if you would allow, I'd ask for Mr. Jason Gaines to come forward and give the mayor and council a brief overview of the changes that are being recommended to achieve the goal that was requested of us. Mr. Gaines.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Good evening, citizens. Excuse me. I believe you all have a copy of the draft amendments in front of you, where removed text is stricken and proposed text is in red font. Recommended a change to 15.5-1, purpose and intent, just to provide, I guess, a bit more clarity in terms of, or to encompass a more complete picture of what the sign ordinance in most jurisdictions is intended to cover. I thought the list that we had initially fell just a bit short of that, so the text in red is a proposed replacement to the existing text. I guess we can kind of go through the whole thing, and then if there are any comments or questions about any section in particular, I'd entertain them. In the definition section, 15.5-2, made some changes to animated sign, replaced detached sign with ground sign. We also added a full definition for abandoned sign, and of course focused on the impetus of this entire process, which was the definition of a monument sign. And with that, I felt there was also a need to change a bit of the wording for a post sign. Most of the signs that had been coming into the city that were in compliance with the ordinance as it is currently were in some, from some perspectives, considered monuments, but they were really post signs. So we refined that definition. And then there's more about what's allowed in terms of ground signage as we get further along into this. We also made some a lot of changes in terms of the names of boards, committees. For instance, planning and development was still prevalent in a lot of places. We replaced those references with planning and zoning committee. And you'll see a lot of that throughout 15.5-4 and 15.5-6. Additionally, under temporary signs, 15.5-9, that section for the most part lays out a process for how temporary signs are applied for and the provisions for how long they can be in place. It was a bit outdated in terms of the way we actually handle that process, where the quality of life officer is the primary point of contact when one wants to apply for a temporary sign. So we inserted that title in as the primary and inserted myself as the backup rather than the city manager. We also included in this, I'm sure along with a few other matters may be up for some debate amongst you all this evening, but the number of banners that can be displayed. Currently, it mentions that only one banner can be displayed on any lot, parcel, or parcel. Currently, you have multi-tenant, multi-suite structures where several individual suites may have a banner. To my knowledge and understanding, those banners have been permitted. Otherwise, I'd be informed that citations have been issued, which I haven't. So with that in mind, it may be desirable to amend the ordinance in that fashion to allow for individual suites to have banners. But of course, that'll be all your prerogative. 15.5-14, general size, height, and location requirements. That in addition to the definition of monument sign is the crux behind all of this. Big change here, existing post signs, well, excuse me, I'll just read the whole thing as it would be amended. Except as exempted in item 2 below, which is not included in here, but it does reference item 2 below this section in the full ordinance. All permitted detached signs shall be securely built and constructed as monument signs. Existing post signs and pole or pylon signs are considered non-conforming signs and shall be allowed to remain as long as they are not changed or altered. Also made some more changes in terms of enforcement and penalties. And again, that's another section that describes a process or a procedure. So we just wanted to install or insert the proper staff titles as far as responsible parties are concerned. Same goes for the 15.5-20 administration. And that concludes this round of amendments. If there are any questions at this time, comments, I entertain.
I just got one comment to make before we give questions. I just want to congratulate the Planning and Development Director, because I brought this to him some time ago and asked him to look at it, and you've done a fantastic job on this.
Thank you.
I think that's exactly what we wanted. That's my opinion, and I think this will make that purpose of when the council put the monument sign into effect. I think this is going to do it. This is going to lock it in, and I really appreciate the hard work you did on this. That's great. Go ahead, Di.
I wanted you made some statements about the banners, and in my mind, they're very temporary and should not be hanging all over the place for any extended period of time. What is your understanding?
Well, the current ordinance allows temporary signs to be installed in 2-week intervals with a maximum of 3 or 2 renewals.
Right.
So 6 weeks total.
So you're saying there's some that's been longer than 6 weeks and we're not given them warnings?
I'm not certain of that. I'm not certain of
No,
that.
I wanted a clear understanding, so I didn't know.
I know that, you know, I get phone calls and emails frequently about temporary signs of various types, not just banners, but banners are probably the most frequently mentioned. And you know, I don't do enforcement. Enforcement, you know, we're staff and we work as a team, and I stay in contact with the quality of life officer. But I'm certain that, you know, if there was a particular enforcement action that needed to be brought to my attention, the quality of life officer would do so, because he typically does.
Right. I just want to make sure we're on the same page, that they're very temporary, and someone will do something about them if they're not.
Correct.
If we don't see them, if they are brought to our attention, we will address them.
That's right. Yes, sir.
I'm curious, am I supposed to have a badge when I enforce these things? It says here 15.5-20